Check this.
Hello, this is Socially Triggered, and this video I'm going to try to address California's new planned law about forcing public companies to have a minimum number of women on their board. The goal of the new social justice law would be to force equality of outcome on businesses. For companies with boards of 5 or more members, at least 2 would have to be women. And if the board is 6 or more, it would have to be at least 3 women. Looking at more than 3,000 global companies, Credit Suisse found that only 14% of the seats were held by women in 2015. This was up, actually, from 2010 by 54%, but still it's a very low number. It's not near the equality that people are seeking, that they want to have 50-50% women and men seen in executive positions. Part of the push is also from the disparity that's seen within the STEM field. So what I'm going to be talking about is a little bit about why women are less represented in STEM, but also why they're less represented at these board level positions. So part of the reason is there is a male-female difference in IQ. Not that women are smarter or men are smarter, but what happens is women generally fall around the mean much more than men. There's usually a higher percentage of women that are smart, that are average intelligence, I should say, whereas men generally are dumber and smarter. They're more seen at the extremes of the bell curve. And what happens is you'll have more male geniuses. Usually it's by a factor of 3 or 4 times more male geniuses than female geniuses. And this can play a big role in the number of people that make it to those top levels within a company. So you would expect there to be just a disparity from that alone. But I'm going to go into some more reasons about why there is the differences within this executive representation. And the first one of these reasons is age. Age is a very important thing because in order to get to the executive role, you have to be generally older, have experience, moved up within the company, and that takes time. Generally, if you go back like 30, 40 years, well, at that time, majority of people in the workplace were males, much higher percentage than now. So you would expect that that group of males progressed and got the experience and now are in those executive roles. So you would expect just from that age component that there would be more men that have the experience required at the age required to become executives. So you'd have like a bit of a skew just from the fact that in the past there were more males in the workplace, and finally they are getting into those executive roles. So age plays a very big factor in why males are maybe disproportionately represented at the higher levels within a company. So that's my first reason, age. The second reason is interest. Especially for the STEM, it's really important that men and women do have different interests. Men are generally interested in tools and like things, and women are much more interested in people and creating that community. So what will happen is, especially in STEM, you'll see that the number of people that enter STEM, it'll be disproportionately represented by men. It's like 80 to 20%. And there's fields that are dominated by women. If you look at nursing, look at social work, you look at feminist studies, there's a lot of fields where it's people related and they're dominated by females. And a lot of male orientated or dominated fields are very thing orientated. And you'll see a lot of men seen in construction frontline army men. You would also see a lot of men who are in STEM, just more interested in STEM. As I said, it's about 20% women and about 80% of men that graduate within the STEM field. So you're going to see a smaller talent pool that companies have to choose from of women that can apply for those roles within the STEM field. So that's the second reason, which is the interest. Just males and females have different interests. And there's lots of studies to show that. The next one is drive. And this may be partly because of testosterone. The males are more driven, more aggressive. But generally men, especially married men, are willing to work longer hours. And they, on average, work about 10% more hours than women. And they also are willing to seek advancement within the company much more than women. Generally, in order to move up in a company, what companies will do is they'll look for the hardest workers. They'll reward those who work hardest for them. So obviously they're going to choose more often male workers because male workers are working longer hours. And in order to be an executive, you generally have to work on average about 72 hours a week. So it's going to be those longer workers, the ones that are willing to put more hours in, that are going to be in that space, that are going to be executive material. And that's more likely to be men. Women show less interest in moving up in a company, and also they show less interest in their company itself. Generally, women will choose their family over company, whereas men generally choose work over their family. So it's sort of an opposite thing. And that gets rewarded within a company because the companies want people who are loyal to them and will give them either advancement within the company or larger salaries. So some of that disparity within the executive of companies is due to just the drive of males and females being different. So the next one is personality. This is similar to drive, but it's going one step further, and it's saying that men seek leadership positions, and women seek more community or group positions. In order to be a leader, you kind of put yourself out there, you take more risk, and men are much more willing to take on risk, whereas women are very risk adverse. And there's probably biological reasons and evolutionary reasons for this, that men had to go out and forage and discover, whereas women were more at home with their children and had to be in sort of that community environment to protect their children. So there is a biological reason for that and evolutionary reason for that. So I always like to think of the female lions versus the male lions. Now, female lions, when they hunt, will work as a group. They'll use their numbers, not their size, to defeat whatever prey that they're going after. Whereas a male lion will be more of a solo hunter, sort of the alpha, and go out there and capture an animal by itself. And this plays out in the workplace as well. So this is similar to the way men and women work, that we're kind of like lions in the respect that women work usually together as a group, whereas men do seek the opportunity to act as a leader, to act as the alpha male. It's just differences in the way males and females, their personalities play out. The next big reason that women have, that really affects women, I should say, and why they don't get to those higher levels within a company is parenthood. Parenthood is one of those things that really affects women much more than men. It's unfair, sure, but it's true. Biologically, women are designed to feed the child and be aware of the child's needs, much more so than the men. Men don't breastfeed very well, so women are required to feed the child. And it's healthy to feed the child. It's really important that women take that role. So what ends up happening, though, if you're trying to have a career, well, you're basically out of the workplace for a year. And even when you're pregnant, you're not going to be working at 100% because your body's kind of working against you. And even after you have the child and you return to work, your body is still not working at that top level that you want to be at. And this doesn't mean that women aren't able to do it. It's just, it's harder for them. It is a disadvantage. And it's important to understand that this is biology that's playing a role here. Biology doesn't care about a woman's career. It just wants that woman to take care of that child. And it's important to understand that this is taking the woman out of the role of building their career. And as I said, it can be a year out of their career. And also, the attitude of a woman generally changes after they have a baby, that they want to be with that child more than they want to be at work once they have a child. So that's a major disadvantage, major obstacle for women to advance, because not only are they having this new role, new extra work that they have to do, but they're interrupting their career. And basically companies are going to be promoting people who are more loyal to the company. And even though it's not disloyalty to the company, having a child is seen as a woman leaving the work, not being there, not being reliable, because they're gone. And it's life, it's unfair, but that's just the way it is. So this really is a big hindrance for women to become executives. And it's for all these reasons why you wouldn't expect 50-50 parity among men and women in the executive roles. Maybe the 15% that we see now is an accurate reflection of all these reasons playing out in the workplace. That it's not sexism that's causing the problem, it's just reality that's causing the problem. That women and men are different, and that has real effects on whether or not women reach that level of their career. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to hear your feedback about it. If you can think of more reasons why women might not reach the top levels of their career, or reasons why it's maybe sexism or some kind of ism that's causing women not to reach the top levels, tell me. I'd be very interested to hear. And I always like to continue the discussion in the comments below. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And please tell other people about these videos. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do making them. And thanks. Bye.
Check this.